Hi, everyone. Mitch from sportschatplace.com and pickdogs.com. Apparently, we had a problem with our YouTube stream the last few days. Thanks for nobody letting me know until yesterday. I got a Facebook message saying, hey, you guys didn't go live today. I guess nothing to talk about. I was like, hey, we just did a whole show on college football picks. So we got, at least we know we have 2 or 3 days worth of shows that we can retread on YouTube. We've got a college football show. We have our NFL win totals show that we can redo. So not that we weren't going to retread those anyways, but just not a ton to talk about, not a lot of updates. So we're going to go over each Major League Baseball division. This is kind of going to give us a high level view of each Major League Baseball team. Of course, there's odds to win the division. We're gonna do win totals and kind of break it out, and I think at some point we will get to that. But of course, the issue here is that we don't know how many games there are going to be in this Major League Baseball season, so makes it tougher to figure out how many games teams are going to win. You put a team down for 80 wins, you get down to 140, 130 game season. You've kind of painted yourself into a corner. So. We were just talking before the show. Of course, we're in full lockdown mode here in Maui, and I honestly don't mind it. We have, I guess, the equivalent of 5 more weeks. Just when you start adding up the days. I bought myself a one of those nets that you hit golf balls into. That's got the target and everything. Been playing in the front yard. Smacking balls, scaring the crap out of my neighbors. Sounds like a whip cracking when you hit that thing. And of course, it's a full swing with the golf ball when I'm hitting it. Super aggressive, even into the net. Steve, what are you doing to kill time? Just working out, doing some doing the ab shredding.
Yeah, like you said yesterday, I got to start working out. I'll leave it at that. I haven't even started yet.
I think what we're going to start doing on this show, even though we're not a financial show, I think what we'll start doing is each day everyone will pick a stock and we'll build a portfolio and of what stocks they have. And I think some of them are just going to be pure market plays, but others, like Weight Watchers, I just think are going to be just an absolute slam dunk after this. I just think, to me, Weight Watchers is probably going to go through the roof. I can't see how anybody, it's like, the thing is, I'm hitting golf balls. I'm out in the front yard with the dog. I still walk the dog. I do the Nordic track for 45 minutes to an hour every day, and then I do like an hour of aerobic exercise a day. I'm still putting on weight like crazy. I mean, could be the 3 Reese's peanut butter eggs I ate, and it's like also, it's like, how about the guys that like say, I eat a small handful of almonds. What the hell does that mean? It's like, I eat a small handful of almonds. I do it all the time, but I eat like 7 of them. I eat a small handful of almonds, and 2 minutes later, I eat another small handful of almonds. I eat a small handful at a time. It's like, just eat a small handful. Not sure what in the hell that means. But, Rod, what are you doing to pass the time? Another small town?
Yeah, the gym's closed. Can't go there. The pool's closed. Can't go there. So walking the dogs around town, let them run out in the field, let them run back in the field. That's about all I can do. Grocery stores are open. A little convenience store opens from 8 in the morning, and then it closes at 2 in the afternoon. That's all it's open for.
So
if you want,
do you have like the hours like we have where it's like, the first hour, you have to be over 65 years old or something? Like special hours for the older people?
The senior people are... but what we do in this small town is we've got a couple people that are... if seniors need something, they call them up, and they'll go pick it up from the store for them and bring it to their house, so they don't even have to go out. because the senior lodge that's in town is on lockdown. So they have an area out the back of the senior lodge that they go out and they walk around out there, do their little bit of exercise. But otherwise, the lodge is on lockdown. That's the only thing that's basically on lockdown. Nobody comes. The only people that can go in are people that work there. Nobody go in, nobody go out. Just the workers.
How about you, Chris? What are you doing to kill the time? It looks like you're on pure lockdown mode there. I don't know if anyone saw the Aaron Rodgers picture yesterday on Instagram that Diego Padres posted, but that was really one of the best ones that I've seen. I should find I should find it and post it for you guys so everyone knows what I'm talking
about. For me, it's I'm picking music for my training montage to start filming. Like I said, I keep trying to maintain this tempo that you see every morning, and it's getting difficult, man. I tell people I'm in shape, but rounds of shape. It's just
my last physical last year, the doctor said I was a healthy fat guy. Those were his words. You're a healthy fat guy. So I'm like, okay. You start losing some of that weight. I think goes other than that, you're a healthy fat guy. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good.
It's kind of a backhanded compliment.
I know.
I think that's helpful.
No.
I can't find it. I'll have to get up and get it on my phone. But it really was one of the best posts that I've seen. Yeah, we live in a small island here, and all things aside, we didn't really start the quarantine and all that stuff early enough, and we know we have problems. I don't know if anyone saw the post about the guys who track the cell phones from Fort Lauderdale spring break and what the reach is on something like that. But it's crazy. So, unfortunately, I believe the worst is yet to come. I don't mean to be gloom and doom. I'm just being realistic. And those people that are ignoring it and think that, you can get away with it and, whatever, good luck to you. I'm normally, when it comes to being a gambler, that is what I am. But I'm not willing to take this bet, that's for sure. So everyone stay safe. Anyways, let's get to some sports here. For some reason, I can't see the comments. So it's on this one. I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's why. But I like to see what everyone has to say because hopefully everyone has some comments. Comments and reactions. What is it? It's got to be up, and it's not here or something. Oh, here it is. Okay. Awesome. Okay, let's get right into it. I'm going to move this window over here. So we'll get to, rough day for the show. Let's see what we got. Okay, we start off with the American League West. The Houston Astros are minus 210 to win this division, followed by Oakland, the Angels at plus 700, the Rangers at plus 1,600, and the Mariners plus 10,000 to win this division. Of course, the Astros, everyone's going to be out to get them. Then you have, the Angels who have really been making the biggest moves this offseason. Steve, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I think the Angels' biggest move is getting Joe Maddon in the dugout. I mean, I'm a huge Joe Maddon guy. I think he's he's one of the top managers to bring the title to the Chicago Cubs a couple of years ago. Speaks volumes. They got Mike Trout. They have been making moves, but as bad as it's been in Houston, and the fact that again, the greatest thing about this baseball season being canceled is Houston coming off the front pages of the retaliation, which I'm sure will rear its ugly head at some point. But in this division, Houston is just super talented still. So I got to think Houston would win this division. But I think the Angels will make a run for it, injuries aside. They still have Mike Trout. So, but I'm going to go with Houston in this division.
Chris?
I'm going to take I'm going to take a bit of a flyer. I'm going to take Oakland. I just think I like their pitching core. I like Sean Manaea. I think we'll hopefully finally get a full season of Frankie Montas. I like who else do they have in that rotation? They've got AJ Puck, and then they've got Mike Fiers leading the way. And they didn't do much they didn't lose anything from that lineup that won 97 games last season. They've still got Marcus Semien, Matt Chapman, Chris Davis. I think they can give I think if Houston regresses a little bit, and I think Oakland wins maybe 95 games again, so maybe win the division by 1 or 2 games. I'll take Oakland.
So here's Danica Patrick's post from Instagram yesterday, and her comment is, "Hey Packer people, day whatever of quarantine." And this picture of Aaron Rodgers. So we are not alone in this, in all of this. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, Rod, what are you thinking for this division? And everyone knows I hate Joe Matt. I hate him.
Not me.
Joe Matt, yeah, because you. All right, well, we'll get into that. Then I want you. I'm going to need you to explain some things to me. Then, if you don't hate Joe Madden, you got some explaining to do, because I'd love to hear your explanation on these things that he does. Okay, go ahead, Rod.
I'm thinking Houston. Houston's going to win this division. Even with the lousy media and press and whatever, they're going to come out and be like, "That's fine." Then we'll hit and show you we can actually hit and play. I'm taking Houston. With Oakland coming second, I think Oakland will be right there for second. But I'm thinking Houston.
I like Oakland to win this division as well. I like the Angels to come in second, and Houston up the track a little bit. I think Houston's got actually some problems. Losing Jarrett Cole, losing your pitcher at the top of the rotation. I know they still have Verlander, but he's generally a slow starter. Then you have guys that people are going to be seriously going after. You have some serious problems there as far as the team goes, and they've had injury problems in recent years. So it's just it's kind of.
I look at it as Houston's going to get a lot of bean balls, which puts a lot of runners on base. You want to.
I understand it puts a lot of runners on base, but it's like if you don't know what pitch is coming, I mean, Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa might not be as good at hitters as we thought they were. I think that's all part of the problem, And
I don't think it's that far that they got every single pitch coming. That all of a sudden there was a little chart that. A little bud in their ear that said, "Here comes a fastball, and it's going to be away." I don't think it was that.
Yeah, deep. I agree with that.
Feeling of signs. No way.
So the Angels have some problems, aside from spending all the big money on Rendon. They have him now. They have Trout, Ohtani. I mean, Albert Pujols is still there. They have a lineup. right? I mean, they got a murder throw lineup. But Joe Maddon just is a buzzkill, man, for me. And it's like I can't root for this guy, so it makes it hard for me to bet on him. So I know during the regular season and generally in betting, I throw my heart out the window. But Joe Maddon is just such a dick. I mean, such a dick that it makes it very, very hard. I mean, this guy, especially now in Los Angeles, he clamors for camera time. It's like he basically gets a haircut before he makes a mound visit every single time. It's annoying, and it's like his reactions. It's like he's a drama queen on the sideline. If you think Kirby Smart is bad, this guy is the drama queen of all drama queens. Then it's like he has his catcher make. They had to change the rule on mound visits because of his catchers. It's just ridiculous the way that this guy manages the game, and it's like that he gets all of this credit for being this great manager. I'll tell you what, give me Rizzo, give me the season and the calls that Jake Arrieta got on the mound, give me Chris Bryant and all those other guys that Cubs team had. I'll manage them to the World Series too. I will. I guarantee it. There it is. Lock. Stone cold lock. This guy gets way too much credit. I thought in Tampa Bay he did a nice job managing with less and making more out of less. And I thought there he added value. I thought in Chicago he absolutely took away from that team. They won the World Series. You know what? They won coming back in like the bottom of the ninth in the last game or whatever extra innings of Game 7. They should have swept that Indians team. They should have swept them. And I hated the Cubs, right? I mean, I hate them. It's like they should have swept them. And it's like, I don't know. I think Joe Maddon at this point, he went from being like this underrated guy that did more with less to becoming this overrated, blown up egomaniac that is just unbearable to watch and is a discredit to the entire sport. And that's just my I don't mean to like soften it up a little bit or kind of not let everybody know exactly where I stand, but that's how I'm gonna have to be. Cause it's just the beginning of we haven't started opening day yet. So I just think that the pitching staff. When the pitching staff, the pitching staff is suspect. Ohtani is listed as the number one starter for that team. Andrew Heaney, Dylan Bundy is listed as a starter. Tehran, I think, is in a better spot. But anyways, yeah, no one likes Joe Maddon. He's a dick. I mean, it's like he's such an egomaniac. And then when he makes the bad decision, this is and it's like it's always his doing. When they lose and it comes down to like that 1-run game where it's like he actually has to manage, we saw what happened, and you know what it was? It was Brett Gardner taking him way deep out of Wrigley. Those were the type of things that we saw. It was like 2 outs in the ninth inning. They throw him a fastball to Brett Gardner. He's like laughing before the ball even hits the bat. It was just like he gave the look at Joe Maddon like, you have got to be kidding me. It was like, who do you think you are? And it was just like, and then Joe Maddon would think, well, he got us. It's like, yeah. I'd say 95% of all major league hitters with that strategy would have got you. Especially Brett Gardner. He's not going to let you beat him. That's for damn sure. It's like, you're going to need a miserable call to beat him in that spot with that pitch. Anyways, which Joe Maddon specializes in. Speaking of Brett Gardner and the Yankees are minus 335 to win the American League East this year. The Rays at plus 400. The Red Sox plus 800. So the Red Sox might have gone from overvalued to big value here. Toronto Blue Jays plus 3,500. And the Orioles at plus 25,000.
Well, there's a bet that I won't be making. But who's going to win it? The Yankees. Who else is going to win it?
Well, I think that this is a spot.
Me as a Canadian, I'm gonna put a little on the Blue Jays just because I like that young core. They start hitting and going, and they get some pitchers going. Oh man, watch out! They're young and up and coming.
The Yankees had a lot of injuries last year, and even when we look at this team, you know, they have some issues here as well. So it doesn't look like the all-star team that you think about when you think about this Yankee team. I mean, Judge and Stanton. Once you get past them, you know, Gary Sanchez, who's been right. Jarrett Cole, who plays once every few days, and you know he's not going to win you in 20 games, right? So even if he has his very best season, got James Paxton, who lives on the disabled list. Tanaka, he's game to game. He could get, you know, he could come out firing for 5 innings is what you're going to get from him at most. You know, Chapman, I think his best days are behind him. And then, you know, DJ LeMahieu, Luke Voigt, Estrella, Tauchman.
Garrett Cole's going to have his best year ever and win the Cy Young.
But he's not. His form doesn't show that's.
No, it doesn't. But that's my prediction.
Oh,
I think he's going to come out and he's going to have an amazing year.
Going to get crushed. Believe me, the Yankee fans will be booing him by week 3. By week 3, he's going to, and I'll tell you, he's not from the environment where he's used to taking it. And in New York, when you read on the front page of the paper, "You suck," I mean, because that is what the headline is going to be. You suck. Let's see how he holds up, because he's not from, you know, that sort of environment. He's never really been under that kind of microscope. I think for me, it's like you got to look for value here with the Rays or even the Red Sox. And I think the Orioles are going to be improved. Of course, they're going to be better than they were. They're not going to be bad forever, and they weren't bad forever.
The Rays will be sad.
John Means was pretty good for the Orioles last year. We made some good money on him. Chris Davis, I mean, I think it's time to cut bait. It's kind of a cancer to the entire organization. When we look at Tampa Bay, this is a team that, you know, maybe it wasn't Joe Maddon because they continue to do more with less. And when you start to look at the starting rotation of Charlie Morton, Blake Snell, Glasnow, Ryan Yarbrough, and Chirinos, I think it's better than the Yankees rotation from top to bottom. And I think, you know, Zunino is easily as good a catcher as Sanchez. He might not have the same power that he does, but he's probably a better overall hitter than Sanchez. You know, I think you know, Kiermaier, Hunter, Renfroe. This is a nice team they have. This is a nice team. I'm going to go Tampa Bay to win the East. Steve, I know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not discounting Tampa Bay at all. They won, I think, 95 games last year, if I remember correctly.
And they've gotten better.
And they're no joke, you know, to your point. You know, they do more with less than just about any team out there. You know, I'm a long-time, diehard New York Yankee fan, and trying to be objective here. Do we have injury problems? Yes, we do. You know, Stanton, I don't know. We only owe him for another 9 years, so he better get healthy. You know, Aaron Judge needs to stay healthy. I kind of like your opinion about Gary Sanchez. I'm really not sold on Gary Sanchez. Can he hit 30 homers? Of course he can. But I'm going to go on record saying when he is due, you know, a couple $100 million or whatever the price tag will be, I think the Yankees are going to cut bait with him at some point. We drafted 2 catchers in the first round, so down the road. But, you know, speaking of this year, because of, you know, the baseball season obviously delayed for as long, Paxton is not due back anyway till June. I think Garrett Cole, like Rod, is he going to win the Cy Young? No, but I think he'll be, quite an addition. We score a lot of runs. We got a lot of good role players. Chapman, I think his days best have passed, but we got a solid bullpen. A lot of arms in there, so I got to go with the Yankees. The Red Sox obviously sails out for the year, and they trade Mookie Betts, that type of thing. So I can't not take the Yankees in the AL East here.
Chris?
Yeah, my initial lean was to the Yankees as well, but thinking about it, the Rays have gotten better, and the shortened season is something that probably plays into the hands of the Rays as well, because then they probably have a little bit less work to do in case the Yankees get a little bit of an advantage. Like if they get a good early jump in a 162 game season, it eliminates the need to chase them down, not maybe a 130 game season, but on the flip side, it gives Tampa Bay less chances to catch up to them if that happens. But still, just based on value, I'll take a shot with Tampa Bay, although my initial lean was towards the Yankees winning the division, but I don't like minus 335.
Yeah, minus 335 is something I think we can all afford to pass on, because when you look at the 6 division winners, the Astros were minus 210, the A's are plus 325. If in the American League, if we only hit the A's, we're still way up, Meanwhile, if you take one of these favorites and you lose, you're pretty much done. Rod, I know you said Yankees. Did we sway you at all?
But no, like I said, but I'm not going to bet it. I feel the Yankees are going to win the division again. But for me, I'm going to put a little bit on the Blue Jays because there's huge value there, and I'm a Blue Jays fan. Why not? That roster ever starts hitting and can run rolling, watch out.
So the correct term on that is, I love the Yankees with your money. With my money, it's an insult.
Well, yeah, because minus 330. It's like you said, I'm not putting $300 down to win $100 or $330,
something like that.
And I wouldn't even take your money and put it onto the Yankees.
Short season helps or hurts the Yankees?
Hurts. Because we know a baseball team can go on a nice little short run, 20-game run, and go 18-2, or you can go 2-18 in 20 games, and all of a sudden, if you got an 80-game season, yikes!
I gotta say it helps them.
I think it helps Tampa Bay because that pitching staff looks pretty good up top.
It helps Tampa too. I do.
I think it helps Tampa a lot because that pitching staff seems kind of thin, but if you can keep those 5 guys healthy, you're probably going to be okay, But we all know what happens over the course of the season. It's like, what happens when your number 1 goes down, and you got to adjust the rotation. We go to the American League Central, where nobody ever repeats. We got the Minnesota Twins at minus 139. The Indians, all of a sudden, plus 280. Team that dominated it, for a while. The White Sox at plus 300. This team has been building, and they are loaded. They committed the highway robbery on a few trades out there. Of course, the Adam Eaton trade, which I thought was highway robbery at the time, and still believe that the White Sox got the better end of the deal. The Nationals did win the World Series, and I think Eaton was an integral part of that, and could have easily been the MVP of the series. So I thought that maybe not as one-sided as it looked, but the White Sox did get a boatload of talent in that trade. Of course, the Chris Sale trade, and then the trade to the Cubs, where they absolutely looted them for Carlos Quintana. They looted the Red Sox, and they looted the Cubs. They pretty much raided the Nationals, who they got what they wanted though. So the White Sox, what they have is probably the best young talent in all of baseball, and while Aaron Judge might be on the scene now, I don't think the White Sox would trade Eloy Jimenez for him straight up. To be honest with you, I don't think they would do it. I don't think they would trade Moncada for him straight up. I think the White Sox are pretty happy with who they have, and adding Dallas Keuchel to the rotation, Dylan Cease, big upside here. Gio Gonzalez is a great number 5. I would say he's good at number 5 as we're going to get. Cishak out of the pen. Calvin Herrera. This is easily the best the White Sox have looked. Colomé is the closer, who was definitely sketchy in Tampa Bay. We all lost a lot of money on him. We know. A lot of frustration. But at the same time, he looked great with the White Sox. He was right on. Jose Abreu has now become the veteran anchor of this team. Man, if he ever hits back to his ability, everyone's in trouble. And I think when you put him and Encarnacion together in that lineup, probably going to be some trouble. This White Sox team looks super dangerous. This is the type of team that could go all the way. This is the type of team that we saw in the summer of 2005 when they ripped off those 39-2, and they were all of a sudden, the White Sox are 45 games over 500. And, they sweep the Cubs at home, and it was just, they were off to the races. El Duque in relief, striking out at Big Papi on 3 pitches. It was just filth all the way. Steve, what are your thoughts here on the American League Central, which doesn't get a lot of claim as the sexiest division in baseball, but I'll tell you, usually well represented, when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was going to concentrate like you just did on the White Sox. And, I think it's a clear consensus. The young talent they've been acquiring over the last 2-3 years is going to pay off. And I don't think it'll pay off this year, but, you'll see strides with the White Sox. But going forward, the White Sox should be very formidable in the next year or two. But that being said, I think the Twins are probably the most talented out of this division, and I'm gonna take Minnesota here, even with a shortened season. I just think they're the most talented team in the Central here right now.
I think when we look at the Twins here, and the addition of Josh Donaldson is certainly huge for this team, and he's one of those guys that's going to fit on just about any team that you put him on. You don't have to worry about if he's going to fit with them or not. He certainly fits with everybody. Seems to be a guy that is dependable, and everybody likes that. He's the type of guy when he's, when the chips are down when the other team's on the ropes, he seems to always be the guy that's up. Right? It's like he's always the guy that's up, and he usually lays out the damage. And if you went through the major league, every player in the major leagues and said which guy has been the MVP, it's like it's very tough to pick out Josh Donaldson, but he's been there, and he's also, he's a Hall of Famer, probably first ballot, and here he is on a team that was kind of a young team last year that was ready to take that next step. I think that they need more consistency out of Sano if they're going to go anywhere. It's like I like the swing for the fences every time, but you already got Nelson Cruz on this team too, so. You have a bunch of guys that can hit it. Taylor Rogers, a few years ago, when he came onto the scene as that middle relief guy, I said at the time, this is a guy that's going to be a closer at some point because just really, really nasty stuff. This Barrios, Odorizzi, Maeda, Homer Bailey, who has definitely rebuilt himself once he got out of Cincinnati. It's just interesting the way that all worked, right? How Homer Bailey out of Cincinnati has kind of been a reasonable pitcher, and then on the other side, the guy from the A's and the Yankees who went to the Reds, who's we're talking about, who's tracked so many guys.
Sonny Gray?
Yeah, Sonny Gray. It's kind of like, it was almost like Homer Bailey was traded for Sonny Gray, right? It was like the way that things all worked out, and it was a good fit for both of them. But I have no problem with the Twins here. I just don't know if they can do it in back-to-back seasons because I think that division is a lot. Even though it might not be as sexy as the American League East, there certainly is enough talent on all of these other teams to battle it out. Rod, what are you thinking here?
I like the Indians here in this division. I think the Indians they've got some good pitching, solid hitting. I like the Indians to battle here and win this division.
Well, Clevenger is listed as the number one starter. Then Shane Bieber, baby, is number 2. Carlos Carrasco is listed as 3. He was injured a lot last season. We've seen Carrasco, and we know what Carrasco is all about. Is that we've kind of picked him apart throughout the years, and we know in those divisional games is where he lives, and it's like you get him outside of the division, and that's why he doesn't have that 2.0 ERA, is because of the games that he pitches outside of the division. Lindor is still one of the best in the business. Of course, and Carlos Santana always a threat. Don't love this Indian team. I don't think they have the bullpen that we've seen in the past. And it's like it's not that those guys aren't there, that they left or anything like that as to why the bullpen's not as good. It's just those guys weren't as good anymore, and you couldn't pay them what they needed to keep them there because they weren't worth the money at that point. Just relief pitchers generally don't last that long, But
yeah.
I think the Indians have done it before, and of course they have a manager that knows how to get a team to the playoffs on a regular basis. He doesn't need to steal signs to do it. Chris, what are you thinking? At least now we know, right?
Yeah. I'm on the White Sox as well.
No, they've been stealing signs. They just didn't get caught.
I'm on the White Sox as well. I think this is the year that the young talent pays off. We've seen they have one of the more dangerous lineups in all of baseball. Forget about just the NL Central. On Moncada, they added Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. Got Luis Robert, who had 16 homers in 49 games in AAA last year. He's going to get called up. Jose Abreu. The only question mark I have of that pitching rotation is Dylan Cease, because he had a tendency to get lit up last year. But 2020 is a new season. I like the rest of the rotation built around him, so I'll take the White Sox plus 300.
Speaking of getting lit up, Matthew Boyd, Spencer Turnbull, Ivan Nova, Jordan Zimmerman, and Daniel Norris are the Tigers' staff this year. We saw some just horrific play out of the Tigers, last season. I don't know if this is a team that's can even threaten. I know that generally they're thorn in the side of some other teams. And when we look at the Kansas City Royals, Ian Kennedy is the closer now in Kansas City. So it's like I guess they paid him, and they got to figure out they got to put him somewhere because they're a small market team, so they can't afford to eat contracts. So we'll just try him out as the closer. Whit Merrifield is a guy that has destroyed me over the years. He seems to be the guy that's always up. It's kind of like it just seems that up by 2 runs, 2 guys on, and you're gonna win your run line. He hits the double, both guys score, and then you go to extra innings, you win by 1. It's always the same guy, or Eater. I think he's very, very underrated there in Kansas City. Salvador Perez, if he could stay healthy, of course, he's a good one. But Danny Duffy, Brad Keller, Mike Montgomery, Jacob Junis, and Brady Singer aren't going to scare anyone. And you know what that means. The bad news for the rest of us. Glenn Sparkman out of the starting rotation. Damn. I love betting against Sparkman.
That was a wild Christmas tree.
It's Like, wait a minute. It's like, I kind of like the Royals. Like, oh crap, they just put Sparkman as the starter.
It's like that cartoon where the eyes get big and you see the dollar signs.
Yep. Sparkman's pitching.
Yeah, they put a dollar sign instead of the S. It's at the beginning of Sparkman too on his jersey.
So we go to the National League, where only one division in the National League has a clear-cut favorite. The other two divisions in the National League, there's not a team with negative odds on the board. So we go to the National League Central, the Chicago Cubs in the post-Joe Maddon era. We got the Ross era coming in, leaving the broadcasting booth. St. Louis Cardinals at plus 220. Cincinnati Reds plus 280. So I think that those are pretty low odds right there for the Reds, considering, you know. We got the Brewers at plus 300, who have been pretty much dominating this division. And then the Pirates, the big long shot at plus 8,000. Steve, any love for any of these teams? This is, you know, I've defaulted to the St. Louis Cardinals probably the last 4 years, just basically on these, you know, with these odds or not these odds, because I just think that you know, I'll go back and go over the rest of the teams as we go through it, but I don't know, man. I just think Paul Goldschmidt was born to be on the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's a good one, absolutely. I'd love the Pirates at plus 8,000. Jesus, but that ain't gonna happen. I got to go with the Brewers in this division. I think the Brewers, you know, they're a really good team, and you know, led by Christian Yelich, and they've been in contention. And I just think they're super talented. The Cubs, you know, David Ross is, I think, going to be a really good manager for them. They still have Bryant, they still have Big O, you know, and so on and so forth. Don't discount the St. Louis Cardinals. Like you said, Paul Goldschmidt, I agree. I think he was born to be a St. Louis Cardinal. But of the teams in this division, I think the Brewers have the most talent, and I think they would prevail in the Central here.
I think when we look at this Pirates lineup, it's really not bad. You know, just picking through, you know, Josh Bell, and you got Jared Dyson in there, Gregory Polanco. You know, this is not bad. Kayla is the closer. He throws heat. The bullpen's been good. Musgrove is the 1, Keller 2, Archer's the 3, which is a great spot for him. Trevor Williams, and then Brault as 5. Trevor Williams is not bad either. You know, in the number 4 spot, getting run support, he might be a different pitcher there than we've seen him, as he's had to be a lot higher up in the rotation. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Chris, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I like the Cardinals here. I think they're just the most well-rounded team in that division. I do like Milwaukee to finish close behind. The problem for me in Milwaukee is that Brandon Woodruff was their best starter, but they don't have a proven ace to sort of lead that rotation. You know, I think Cincinnati's going to take a step ahead this season, and the problem for me with the Cubs is that, you know, they're, you know, we don't know if they're buying or selling, especially when it comes to Chris Bryant. We've heard that saga for the last 2 seasons. St. Louis, they got guys like Dakota Hudson, Jack Flaherty, Miles Michaelis. You know, the list goes on and on. I just think the Cardinals win that division again.
Well, I like the stat, and when you have Carlos Martinez as your number 5, you're probably in pretty good shape. We've seen, you know, the good and the bad of Carlos Martinez. A few things that are kind of red flags. I think Andrew Miller, you know, could have a decent season in middle relief there for the Cardinals. The Cardinals work wonders with pitchers. But, you know, I think 2 issues here for me with the Cardinals are that they have the dual closers, Gallegos and Hicks, and I think I have a problem with that. And, you know, it's like if one guy can't emerge, that means that one guy's not good enough. It's not a wealth of, you know, talent or anything like that. It just means that one guy hasn't shown himself head and shoulders above the other one. The other issue is, what do you do with Matt Carpenter here? You know, who's been kind of the anchor of that organization for the last 10 years. You can't trade him because he'll kill you wherever he goes, right? And then, you know, you can't really keep him because he makes a ton of money and you don't have a spot for him. You just keep him around for the DH for the interleague games? I'm just really not sure what you do here. It's just an interesting dilemma because we saw them put him up in spots where he used to murder teams last year, but he didn't do it. He did not come through. He started to look old last year. Rod, what are you thinking for the Central?
I'm with Chris. I like the Cardinals here as well. Solid pitching, solid hitting. I think they come out of this division.
I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds this year. I think that, the plus 280 odds here when you have the Cubs as the favorites at plus 215 and the Cardinals at plus 230. And I think this is just a telltale sign that what you have here is a very, very live dog. Luis Castillo is one of the best in the business. He's their number one this year. He lost a lot of close, low-scoring games last year, and he's easily the type of guy. Another pitcher I'd rather have than Jarrett Cole, Luis Castillo, any day of the week. Sonny Gray is the 2. He's found himself. He looks like the Sonny Gray that he was in Oakland, and if he can continue with that form, he's as good as anybody. Trevor Bauer, not one. He's been to the World Series as a number 3. You're number 3, and here, DeScalfani, good enough, and Wade Miley, well, let's just say in Great American Ballpark, look for a plus 5+ ERA out of Wade this year. Iglesias out of the bullpen, like Joey Votto, Moustakas, Galvis, Nick Castellanos. I think this has been a team that's quietly been building throughout the years, too. I think the Reds have a puncher's chance. Michael Lorenzen.
I got Castillo on my short list. Have a good shot at winning the Cy Young this year.
I absolutely agree. I think that if you can, the thing to me, like when you look at the guys who have been the dominating pitchers over the last 10 years or so, you look at their ERA in the tough parts, to pitch it. So when Johnny Cueto has an ERA that's a full run below whoever's in second place for best ERA in Great American Ballpark, that really says something, especially since he pitched there a ton. So it wasn't just he got hot for a couple games. Here's a guy who can, in the second best hitter's park in all of baseball, had an ERA that's a full run better than anybody else. And I think a guy like Castillo, this is why he's going to be able to go on the road and win.
Yep. That's why it's on my list. It's on my list of pitchers I'll be definitely backing.
Yeah, we'll be backing him plenty, and being on the Reds, we're going to get good value all season long on him too, just like we did last year, especially against teams like the Cubs. Go to the National League East once again. No clear-cut favorite here. Atlanta Braves at plus 200. The defending World Series champion Washington Nationals, less a couple of pieces, plus 230. The Mets plus 320, one of the more disappointing teams the last few years. Phillies plus 340, probably the top most disappointing team last year in the National League. And then the Miami Marlins at plus 20,000. That's right. $100 on the Marlins to win the division pays $20,000.
Not bad.
Chris, you got $100 I could borrow?
Not for the Marlins. Maybe I got one to make 200, but no, I like the Braves here at plus 200. I know Washington had the World Series year last year, but I still think the Braves are the best team in that division. They've got a young rotation. You got a guy like Mike Soroka who could win on the road. You bring in a veteran like Cole Hamels, who didn't have a great year last year, but I think maybe they can get a bit of a resurgence out of him. Mike Foltynewicz, we've seen him get lit up too, but I think he bounced back last year. Max Fried, I don't know if I like the Felix Hernandez as number 5 in that rotation. But again, maybe a change of scenery helps. I'll put a little bit on Washington as well. At plus, was it 220 or 225? Just because I think they have a good shot as well to win the division. But my top play for that division is the Braves.
They're going to need Mark Melanson to pitch a lot better than he did last season. They're going to repeat. Cole Hamels is going to have to come on as well. Sean Newcomb, we've seen the good and bad from him. Fulton Awich, exactly. Max Fried, another guy, injury issues, right? And Soroka, way overrated. Way overrated. Oh, my God. I mean, I love betting against this guy. He's a guy, he lasts like 3-4 innings, you know? It's like he's a 3-4 inning guy. He's not even like a 5 inning guy. Still love Freddie Freeman. Anyways. Steve, what are you thinking?
Nah, I got to go with Chris. I got to think Atlanta's the most talented, but of the other teams in the division, I like the Phillies. I put something down, plus 340. I think Joe Girardi is a really good manager, and I think the Phillies do have talent, whether it translates this year. But, the Phillies got talent, so I wouldn't be surprised if Girardi can get them to play well, especially in a short season here. And I would say Atlanta and then the Phillies would be my 2 best options for the NL East.
Rod?
Yeah, I like the Braves as well here, but the Phillies could surprise. You never know. They got the talent there as well, but I'm gonna go with the Braves here. Young team. I think they're gonna have a good year.
I'm gonna go with the Mets. I just think that they've underachieved for so long that this is probably the year that they overachieve. Syndergaard out for the season. That hurts, but you still have DeGrom and Stroman on top of the rotation. Matz has shown that he can always pitch well at home. And Michael Wacha coming over from the Cardinals, a guy that we've won a lot of money on over the years and lost a couple bucks on as well. But, of course, Rick Porcello is there. And, the nice thing about Porcello is that, you don't have – this will say to people, the people that say, oh, you bet on the Mets every day or whatever. It's like, well, we'll be laying against Porcello on a regular basis, just as we always have. Porcello's been a real gravy train for me for the last 10 years plus. Everyone knows that. He had the 1 year that he won the Cy Young, but outside of that, he has been a major payer for us. Nice prices, too. Very, very overrated. But when you look, the Mets have upgraded everywhere else. Betances comes over from the Yankees. Gesellman did a nice job. Edwin Diaz is now the closer. Pete Alonso could be, one of the star of stars. Cespedes. If this guy ever gets healthy, it's not just his offense.
Boo Cespedes. Overrated piece of crap.
He might be an overrated piece of crap, but he still has the best arm in the outfield of anybody out there. He's a defensive star. That alone can win you games. It's, most professional sports come down to 2 or 3 plays over the course of a game that make the difference. Robinson Cano is a guy that's been overrated as well, and it's like, he missed most of the season last year too. So you have Alonso, Cano, Cespedes, Nimmo, Conforto. If he has a sweet swing. It's like
Stroman. Stroman's bad. Overpaid bum.
Is who?
I'm glad James got rid of that guy. I hate Stroman, man. That guy's just an overpaid bum.
Yeah, but as a number 2. Instead of being a number 1.
Number 2?
He wasn't. He's
going to make the money off throwing this year. Beauty.
Yeah, but when you're at 2 instead of a number 1, and you're facing off against their number 2 instead of their number 1, instead of going up against Clayton Kershaw and all those other guys on a nightly basis, now he's up against their number 2, so he's got a much better chance of hanging in there, especially with Betances, Selman, Familia not in the closer role, Seth Lugo, who was outstanding last year. When Lugo came back, the Mets were winning.
They better just get rid of Familia, or he is going to cost you a whole lot of games. That guy can't win a thing.
He's not in the closer role. When he's not in the closer role, we should be okay.
Okay. We had the lead, but then Familia came in, and
But that was generally
he
in
lost.
the ninth inning. Well, we go to the biggest favorite on the
I see
board.
him coming in, and I'm like, yeah, bet the other way.
We go to the biggest favorite on the board, and that's the Dodgers, minus 715 to win the National League West. The Diamondbacks at plus 900 with Madison Bumgarner now in the fold. San Diego Padres plus 1,100. Rockies plus 2,800. And the Giants plus 8,000. Any way out from the Dodgers, because if you bet the Dodgers and they don't win the division, you could win every other division and still lose money.
The Dodgers are just too loaded. I mean, they just got Mookie Betts. I mean, I'd be stunned if the Dodgers don't win this division by like 8 to 10 games, even in a short season. They're just loaded. Whether they win the World Series, I'm not going to say that, but just to get out of that division, they're top to bottom. They're absolutely loaded. Now, granted, their payroll is $800 billion. I get that, but they got talent up and down that roster, so I can't go with anybody other than the Dodgers in the NL West.
Kershaw, the number 1, Buehler, the 2, Price, the 3, Urias is the 4. Will this finally be the year that he fills that potential that we've heard about for so long, that he's the next Fernando? Alex Wood, Blake Trinan in the bullpen, Baez, Joe Kelly, who we know he's a liability. Kenley Jansen, who was definitely hit a rough patch last season. Max Muncy, we saw him in the home run derby. Justin Turner, he's one of those thorn in the side guys, right? Who just always seems to be up at the wrong time if you're on the other side of the bet. Jock Peterson, Bellinger, not anything special, and Mookie Betts in that big stadium there. We'll see how he does in the National League with no DH, if he's nearly as effective as a run scorer. To me, this is a little rich for my blood. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I do think the Dodgers win the division, but I'm not paying minus 715 to do it.
I'm not paying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. I do think the Dodgers win the division. If you're going to value hunt, I think the only 2 viable options, if you can consider them, those are Arizona and San Diego, because Arizona at least showed that they have a little bit of desire to win this year. They went to get Madison Bumgarner and they traded for Starling Marte. And San Diego has a ton of young talent, but they're probably a year away from contending in the division. So I'm saying the Dodgers win. I'm not betting it, but value wise, you could take a punt on Arizona or San Diego.
Rod?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers win. Yeah, I'm going to go take a shot with Arizona. I think adding Bumgarner to that rotation of good pitchers. You got Baumgartner and Robbie Ray. They've got some good pitchers there, and they won 85 games last year. If anyone's going to upset the Dodgers in that division, it'll be Arizona.
Luke Weaver of 5 in that Arizona rotation. That shows you that there's some depth there. Nick Ahmed. I mean, if you haven't lost a game that you bet against the Diamondbacks and Nick Ahmed didn't kill you, then you haven't been betting long enough. This guy will absolutely be alive. It's like, how many times can Nick Ahmed beat you over a 2-month span? It's like, well, Arizona won 5 games. Nick Ahmed at the game-winning RBI in 5. I know this is an odd choice, but I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres here. I just think that it's every 10 to 12 to 15 years that the Padres have a good team, and I think this team sets up. I like Paddock as the number 1. I love the Nielsen Lamet. He missed most of last season, but we saw him when he came up. Garrett Richards still working on the comeback as the number 3. Lose Zach Davies to the 4. And Joey Lucchesi, who, if he has his stuff going, is a legitimate number one, is listed as the 5. And Drew Pomerantz is on the roster, and that's always a scary thought because that means that he could hit the starting rotation for a spot start here and there, and that's always bad news. But the Padres seem to have a bunch of guys like that on their relief with Craig Stammen, who has started before, Castillo started, and Kirby Yates is a legitimate closer. Meanwhile, Eric Hosmer, Profar, Machado, Tatis Jr., Will Myers. This is a legitimate lineup. I think that the Padres have a legitimate chance here to knock the Dodgers off. And at plus 1,100, well worth the play, especially with Chris's money. Anyways, we covered all the divisions here. In a time where there is no sports going on, we always seem to find something to talk about. Guys, what's on tap for today? Steve, what's on the schedule?
One word, Seinfeld. Nothing.
How about you, Chris? I'm thinking about watching the Ozarks. Anyone watch the Ozarks?
I've heard it's good. I may start checking in on
I got Amazon Prime. Why not?
Right.
Yeah, I think
I just watched the first 3 seasons. There's 3 seasons out of that, isn't there? Ozarks, 3 seasons.
Yeah,
that'll get me through a day.
My buddy's all excited. He's like, "I need the 4th season. When does it come out?" He's so pumped.
Yeah, this is what I've heard about Ozarks. I heard Ozarks could be the one.
Yeah, we're doing
why wouldn't they release first release films, right? Where you can get them pay-per-view now. It's like, don't you think that this would be a gold mine for the movie industry?
Yeah,
you would think it would be, right?
Well, I know. Up here, you can Uber Eats the movie popcorn to your house.
Wow.
I know people that have done that. They paid $18 for a bag of popcorn. I'm like,
really?
Would anyone like to see the designated hitter in the American and National League, Steve?
No. I like that.
I'm anti-DH, so
I like that the pitcher has to hit. I like that the pitcher has to hit.
Well, I think the pitcher having to hit makes the game better. It's a better game, and it really shows something for the manager that he has to make decisions every time the pitcher comes up to the plate, whether it be the 3rd inning, the 6th inning, or whatever. It's like, do I leave this guy in or do I not? And it's like, even at some point, you might even have to bat a relief pitcher. We see that happen every once in a blue moon. So I'm anti-DH all the way.
I wish Pedro Martinez had a hit when he pitched. Because he was a headhunter, to say the least.
Yeah, put him up there. No one will beat him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Headhunter's putting it nicely.
They're betting in the comments whether Chris will fall asleep or not.
No, I'm wide awake.
Yeah, the White Sox were looking good. Be interesting to see how they do it. What kind of spring training or training there's going to be for baseball once we're ready to play again. My guess is we're going to see some empty stadiums, and even as a sports fan, I don't know when I'm ready to get back into a stadium and get back around people and all that stuff. I mean, the nice thing is that I've had 50 years of training of avoiding people because I generally am not I don't hang out with a lot of people, so doing okay. But yeah, love to hear what everyone else is doing. Maybe we'll post some stuff in the Facebook group. I'm trying to post some things in there, but just not a lot to work with these days. But I appreciate you guys joining me today. Had a pretty good show, I would say, all things considered. And we'll see everyone tomorrow back on YouTube, which is comforting. I guess is the word, right? It was so weird. It was like I didn't even realize we weren't even on there. Normally I would get a
No.
million emails. If it was the regular season, I would have gotten a million emails. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, Chris, Rod. Have a good day, guys.